For a game that's almost a decade old now, it's almost sad that humans have not made anything like this since. The Last of Us Part 2, it seems to be more than just a game. It's a place of a beautiful, vicious story of two young girls that are crawling through an apocalyptic world, seeking revenge for the loss of their fathers. The Last of Us Part 2 captured something with human emotion. It's not only a great game, but it's more than that. It's like a book you keep going back to, or an album. Once is never enough. It's almost perfect. The Last of Us Part 2 is a masterpiece of emotional storytelling that still today can captivate people. So much so that it was made into a TV show. 5 years after saving Ellie, Joel is living a quiet life in Jackson, in Wyoming. He and Ellie have rebuilt something resembling somewhat of a normal life and a normal relationship with the underline of daughter and father. Dinners, readings, playing music together, and the occasional patrol shifts. It's fragile, but it's the realest thing they're going to get at that point in their life. Then, in a single moment of life intervening once again in dark matters, everything is torn apart. On a normal day, on a normal patrol, Ellie has to watch someone she loves die violently. And the story does something that almost no game has ever done before in the history of gaming and many movies. It makes you feel that loss so deeply that you understand it. You cry, you're full of rage, completely screaming out for revenge yourself. Ellie abandons everything and ventures out into the dark world to hunt down the person responsible. But at that moment too, the game puts a huge twist on you. With the moment of emotion and anger towards an opposite player, the game pulls the rug out from underneath you. Halfway through, you're forced to play as Abby, the person, the very person that just murdered what Ellie had left as a father figure and someone to protect her and watch over her for her well-being. And here's where the genius lies. The game makers know it. They took their time with it, and it paid off. Ellie has friends, fear, love, loyalty, and her own devastating grief. By the time the two stories collide again, your mind is confused. You're somewhat angry at both of them, Abby and Ellie. These are the best moments of The Last of Us Part 2. As fungus had filtered out through humanity, turning people into something worse than monsters. Because somewhere in the clicking, there were still traces of people they used to be. Fathers, daughters, teachers, children, all of the wonderful elements humanity had to offer at once. One of the best stories of The Last of Us is just the plain beginning of the whole game. When we see the start of it, of Joel, who honestly is one of the best father figures that cinema or gaming has ever made. He's not even Ellie's real father, but he loves her unconditionally and just wants what's best for her. When we find them again in The Last of Us Part 2, they're at this crossroads in their relationship. Ellie becoming older, more distant, nothing new to the relationship of father-daughter, roadblocks every parent will have to go through, facing the truths of adulthood elements that Ellie doesn't want to talk about with Joel. As much as she wants him and needs him, it's awkward, and Joel is just trying his hardest to be there for her. He's not directly her father, but he'll do whatever it takes to protect her, physically and mentally. This is an element everyone can relate to, with either Joel or Ellie. We've all been the young teenager or adult that was having a shift in our relationship with our parent, where we didn't know how to talk to them and just wanted to walk away. The Last of Us really did capture this very well. This moment that humans produce time and time again with each other. The relationship of Joel and Ellie are unmatched in gaming history. Another element that I love about The Last of Us is the personal life of Abby and where she lives. Abby wakes up to the sound of Seattle rain falling against the reinforced concrete walls of what used to be a huge sports coliseum in Seattle. Her quarters are curved into what was once the upper luxury suites where the fans would have filtered through decades ago. Her room's a little messy, but not too messy. A military cot with a weathered blanket, a small desk where she keeps sketches and maintenance logs, books that she loves, and supplies. Every morning she moves through the corridors, past the reinforced checkpoints, past the communal kitchens, where the smell of boiled grains and canned goods mingles with diesel fuel. Oh, that smell. The Coliseum, massive central structure, looms above everything. Imagine living where she lives, a skeleton of the steel infrastructure that it once was. It's been converted into barracks, workshop spaces, place of refuge. It feels as though humans have been sent back into the Roman times, just living in barracks, being on top of each other, cooking and cleaning their clothes around one another, raising children on top of children. There's somewhat of a part of you that goes, I kinda like this, where everyone's together, tribalistic. You're around friends. There's no more need of money, job, just survival at its most plain base. Abby's favorite spot is that old observation desk on the 4th level where she can see out over the overgrown parking lots and the collapsed sections of the city beyond. They're surrounded by the hum of nothing and everything that's left. She sometimes sits alone and just breathes, watching the rain turn everything gray. I love for the little bit of the time that we get to spend at the stadium. We get to see different elements of it. We see the training room where people are working out, staying healthy, not only for their health, but to defend themselves, staying active. And one of the most unique elements too is that we get to see school. We see the children, that they're being taught, loved, protected, the next generation to take over and somewhat maybe help the world. They're loved. It's so unique and such a moment of detail in the world at that time, in this beautiful place that Ellie lives in, when she's surrounded by so much death and what was now lost. What was Abby thinking about her home? Did she think she could ever start a family there? What could she do? Why this Coliseum that used to belong to the Seattle Seahawks is so interesting is because if The Last of Us were to actually happen in real life, more than not, this would be a place of refuge for people. One of the last key elements that I do love about The Last of Us, and that I've played multiple times and still hits me the same way as when I saw it the first time, is the descent. It's when Abby enters into the basement, the morgue area, / where the high affected were sent, and where she runs into a beast later on. The eerie feeling even before you get into the bottom of where you're going with this adventure of darkness, suspense, being scared, and if you're playing it in the dark, which you should be, Lord help you, it's quite scary. When you enter into the bottom, the fluorescent lights have been dead for years. Down into the dark, shallow hole it is, you immediately go for your flashlight, but what you see, it doesn't help what's going on inside your mind. You find yourself scared at this moment. You know it's a video game, but you're tense, you're scared, you don't know what's around the corner, but you know it's not good. You didn't want to look around a corner, but you had to. Sounds started to appear, blood everywhere. The hospital had felt wrong from the moment you entered. It was too quiet, too still. The kind of stillness that wasn't empty. It was waiting for you. As you descend, you hear your boots walking on the ground, glass, dry blood. You can only imagine what the smell must have been like. You know you have to keep moving. But what drug Abby down there was that she was trying to help a friend. Lev, she needed medical supplies, and Abby knew they had to be down there. No one in their right mind would go down there looking. So as you continue to go around corners, you start to find infected. They're fast, they're loud, they're mean. But then something happens that you're completely not expecting. Even if you played the first game, you find the Rat King, the monster of The Last of Us, the only one. We've never encountered anything like this in both games. When you fight him, it feels as though it's never going to end. But when it eventually does, you feel like a champion. You're alive, Abby gets what she needs, and she helps a friend. But this level is something of a nightmare. I could not even imagine doing this, and I don't think I would have the courage. It's a beautiful level that was put together with everything right. It's almost perfect, it feels like. So tell me, what were your favorite moments from The Last of Us? I'll be back talking about more, but these were just a handful of mine.